Every November, as we celebrate National Children's Month, we renew our nation's most sacred promise that every Filipino child shall grow up safe, healthy, and protected from harm. But as we look around today, there is a quiet and cunning danger creeping into our children's lives. A danger wrapped in bright colors, sweet flavors, and sleek packaging. I speak of vapes and e-cigarettes, the new face of nicotine addiction that is capturing the curiosity and the lungs of our youth. As we speak, world leaders are gathered at the 11th Conference of the Parties, or COP11, to the WHO Framework Convention on Tobacco Control, or FCTC, to renew their collective stand against the global tobacco epidemic and its many evolving forms. The Philippines is a signatory to that convention. We are duty-bound, morally and legally, to ensure that our public health policies are protected from the vested interests of the tobacco and vape industry. Yet, we now see vape kiosks in malls and social media pages that glamorize vaping as a lifestyle, not addiction. Mr. Speaker, the tobacco industry has repeatedly justified vapes and e-cigarettes as harm reduction tools or pathways to cessation. But the evidence before us tells a very different story. Instead of reducing smoking, the aggressive marketing and widespread availability of these products have created a new generation of nicotine users. In fact, in countries where e-cigarettes and vapes became widely accessible, including the Philippines, overall smoking and nicotine use prevalence has increased, driven largely by youth uptake of flavored and disposable devices. Rather than serving as cessation tools, these products have expanded the market, not reduced it. Mr. Speaker, the promise of harm reduction has instead become harm expansion, with our children paying the price. And we, as legislators, must decide whether to stand with public health or with those who profit from public harm. The Philippines ratified the WHO FCTC in 2005, and to our credit, achieved major gains in taxation, packaging warnings, and surveillance. According to the Global Adult Tobacco Survey in 2021, adult tobacco use dropped by 34% between 2009 and 2021, surpassing the global reduction target of 30%. But our global standing remains mixed. The Southeast Asia Tobacco Control Alliance, or SIATCA, 2023 FCTC scorecard shows that while the Philippines performs well in taxation, we rank poorly in Article 5.3 compliance, the protection of public health policy from industry interference. In fact, the 2025 Global Tobacco Industry Interference Index gave the Philippines a score of 70 out of 100, signaling persistent industry influence in policy making. These are not just numbers, they are mirrors reflecting where we stand and where we fall short in the eyes of the world. Mr. Speaker, when we look around our region, the difference is striking. In SIATCA's 2023 FCTC scorecard, Thailand at 77% and Singapore at 75% lead ASEAN with strong bans on advertising, total protection of health policy from industry interference, and strict controls on e-cigarettes. The Philippines, by contrast, scored 49%. Our low rating is driven by three weaknesses. Number one, industry participation in policy making. Number two, weak regulation of new products such as vapes and heated tobacco. And number three, easy retail access, mall kiosks and online sales that target the youth. Mr. Speaker, these numbers matter not only for health, but for national leadership. In 2026, the Philippines will assume the ASEAN chairship. When we take the lead of our region, we are expected to set the agenda, champion shared priorities, and uphold ASEAN commitments, including those aligned with the WHO, FCTC, and global health goals. A stronger stand today will allow the Philippines to approach ASEAN chairship as a renewed regional leader for SDG 3, or Sustainable Development Goal 3, good health and well-being. We can use 2026 as an opportunity to champion a united ASEAN front against emerging nicotine products, protect the youth across the region, and restore confidence in our commitment to public health. Mr. Speaker, it also pains me to recall that during COP10, the Philippines received the Dirty Ashtray Award, our fifth such citation from the Global Tobacco Control Advocates. It was a symbolic reprimand given to delegations perceived to have defended industry positions or blocked progress towards stronger health protections. Mr. Speaker, this is not the legacy we want for our children, nor the reputation we want for our country. We once led in tobacco taxation and reform. We can lead again. Let us ensure that the next time the world meets at COP, the Philippines will no longer receive a dirty ashtray, but an Orchid Award, given to nations that lead with integrity, courage, and compassion. In some cities and municipalities, like in Balanga and Dinalupihan, we have chosen a different path, one that begins with the youth themselves. Through the Tobacco-Free Generation, or TFG movement, our students pledge, we will not smoke, we will not vape, we will protect our generation. This movement is now a proud partnership among schools, parents, and barangays, where children lead awareness drives, organize campaigns, and use art, music, and sports to champion health. They remind us that real change begins not with punishment, but with empowerment. But the TFG also raises a profound moral question. Our laws say that tobacco and vape products are illegal for minors, but legal for adults, as if turning 18 magically makes addiction acceptable. This inconsistency teaches the wrong lesson, that what is harmful today becomes permissible tomorrow. The Tobacco-Free Generation movement challenges that thinking. It empowers the youth to decide, even when they become adults, even when it is legal, that they will never start. That is true freedom. Not the right to smoke, but the right to say no. It is the generation's quiet revolution, a decision to break the cycle once and for all. But no local program, however passionate, can fully protect our youth if national policy keeps the gates open for addiction to thrive. As Vice Chairperson of the Committee on the Welfare of Children, I rise today not just in policy, but in faith. Faith that we can still give our children the future they deserve. Together, as members of the nation's policy-making body, we have the power to make that happen. Let us make this National Children's Month not only a celebration, but a turning point. Let us take action. Let us choose children over corporations, health over profit, and truth over deception. Let us rise from the ashes of the dirty ashtray and prove that the Filipino spirit, when guided by love for our children, can still burn brighter than any smoke the industry can produce. Mr. Speaker, dear colleagues, the fight for a tobacco-free future is not just a health campaign. It is a fight for life itself, for the right of every Filipino child to grow up breathing freely, dreaming boldly, and living fully. Maraming salamat po at mabuhay ang mga batang Pilipino.